I remember the morning of the gallery show like it happened just yesterday. The sky over London was grey and heavy, the kind of day where the clouds felt too close, like they were pressing down on everything. I woke up before the sun, barely, slept the night before. My hands were shaking as I zipped up my worn coat and laced my shoes. I stared in the mirror, just trying to breathe. That day was supposed to be one of the biggest moments of my life. My painting, my painting, was going to be shown at a real gallery in the city. Not in the corner of a coffee shop or behind a dusty window in a forgotten street. No, this was central London, a place with lights, names on walls, critics in the crowd, and yet I felt like an outsider before I even walked in. The gallery was bright and full of chatter when I arrived. The walls were all white, so clean they almost glowed. Art pieces hung, neatly in rows, and the air smelled like new paint and expensive perfume. People walked around slowly, sipping wine out of thin glasses and talking about brush strokes and emotional undertones, like they were reading poetry. I stood near the back, trying not to be seen. I wasn't dressed like them. My shoes were old. My coat wasn't stylish. My skin was a little darker than most of the faces in the room, and I could feel it. I could feel the way their eyes slid past me like I was furniture. Or worse, like I was lost. Then came the laughter. A group of 3 stood near me, looking at their phones, glancing over their shoulders. One of them, an older man in a silk scarf, looked right at me and said, not quietly, "Did someone bring in the janitor?" The others laughed. It felt like ice in my chest. I wanted to shrink, to fade into the walls, but I didn't move. I just clenched my hands and stared at the floor. They didn't know. They didn't know that I wasn't there to clean up after them. I wasn't a mistake or a joke. I was the artist they came to see. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I watched. People walk by the cloth-covered frame hanging on the far wall. My painting. The one they would all gather around soon. Some looked curious. Others looked bored. One woman took a sip of wine and muttered, "Let's hope it's not another one of those modern messes." That stung too. But I stayed silent. Then, finally, the moment came. The gallery owner stepped forward, clapped his hands, and the room fell quiet. He said a few kind words, called it a very special piece, by a new voice in the art world. Then he looked at me. "Would the artist like to do the honors?" he asked. I walked forward slowly. The same people who had laughed were now watching me. One of them tilted his head, confused. The woman with the wine lowered her glass. The silk scarf. Man's smile vanished. I reached up and pulled the cloth down. Silence. The room went still. No laughter, no chatter. Just silence. The painting showed a boy, maybe 9 or 10, sitting alone on the edge of a playground. His head was slightly bowed. His hands were clenched in his lap. The colors around him were bright. Children running, swinging, laughing. But he was painted in shades of gray, like the joy had skipped over him. Like he was invisible. That boy was me. It wasn't just a painting. It was a memory, a truth. It was every day I sat alone at school while others made friends. It was every hallway I walked where teachers ignored me, or every street where I was followed just for looking out of place. It was every time someone judged me before they knew my name. And now here I was, in a room full of strangers, all looking at that little boy, at me, with eyes that were no longer mocking. Their faces had changed. I heard someone sniffle. A woman stepped closer, hand on her chest. A man with slicked-back hair whispered to the person beside him, "This is powerful." And then, slowly, someone began to clap, just one at first. Then another. Then the whole room. Applause filled the gallery, echoing off the walls, but I didn't cry. I just stood there, quiet, taking it all in. Afterward, people came up to me. Some asked about the painting. Some said thank you. One woman, older, gentle voice, touched my arm and said, "You reminded me of my son. You made me feel something I hadn't felt in years." But the one I remember most was the man in the silk scarf. He approached me awkwardly, hands in his pockets. I owe you an apology," he said. "I judged you, and I was wrong. That painting? It shook me." I nodded. I didn't need to say much. I just smiled. That night I walked out of the gallery into the cold London air, my hands still trembling. But it wasn't fear anymore. It was pride. It was freedom. I had spoken, without words. I had told my story and they had listened. Sometimes we don't get the respect we deserve right away. Sometimes people look at you and only see what they expect to see. They don't see the work you've put in, the pain you've carried, or the dreams you've been building in silence. Sometimes the world laughs before it listens. It judges before it understands. It pushes people like us to the edges, like we're not supposed to be part of the story. But here's what I've learned. Your truth matters. When your story is real, when it comes from deep inside your soul, it carries a weight that can't be ignored forever. Even if it takes time. Even if you have to walk through rooms full of silence, or stand in corners where no one sees you at first. Even if they mock you, brush past you, or act like you don't belong, truth finds its way. And when it finally breaks through, it doesn't whisper. It speaks loud. It shakes people. It opens their eyes. That night in the gallery, something changed. Not just in them, but in me. For the first time, I didn't feel like I had to explain myself or prove anything. I didn't have to shout to be heard. I didn't have to change to fit in. They saw the painting. They saw me, and they couldn't look away. That night I wasn't invisible anymore. I was seen. I was understood. I was respected. And I know now, deep in my bones, that I never will be invisible again. Because once you've told your truth, once you've stood tall in the face of doubt and let your soul shine through, no one can take that away from you. Not ever.
Thank you for watching. Drop a like. If this video helped, entertained, or inspired you, let me know with a thumbs up. It boosts the video's reach and tells YouTube you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What was your favorite part? Any suggestions for future videos? Let's chat in the comments. I read every single one. Share with a friend. Know someone who'd love this? Share it with them. Spreading the word helps more people discover this content. Your support is what keeps this channel going, and I'm so grateful for every like, comment, and share. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. See you in the next video.